I'm Charlotte. Standing on the dance floor, the chaos behind me, I can still feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins. It was my wedding day, a day that was supposed to be filled with joy and love, but instead, it turned into a battlefield. My mind flashes back to the moment when I handed my bouquet to my sister, Lily. She was glowing in her white dress, looking like a bride herself. My mother, always favoring Lily, insisted that I give her the bouquet for the photos, saying it was a tradition for expectant mothers. I remember looking at the bouquet, the garden roses and peonies I had carefully selected, wrapped in my grandmother's lace handkerchief. And then I looked at Lily, with that smug look on her face, and something inside me snapped. But I didn't lose my cool. I smiled and said, of course. Lily deserves all the attention. She always has. I handed her the bouquet with steady hands, and she narrowed her eyes slightly, sensing a trap but unable to figure it out. I decided to turn the tables on her. I called her fiancé, Ethan, up to the stage and proposed a toast. To Lily and Ethan, to their engagement, to their pregnancy, and to their ability to make it work despite everything. The crowd let out nervous laughter, and Lily's smile faltered. I continued, the timing is just uncanny. Due in April, right? That puts the conception around July. Wasn't Ethan at that medical conference in Seattle during the first 2 weeks of July? Ethan's expression changed, and he asked how I knew. I replied, I follow the Medical Association on Instagram. They posted so many photos from the conference. You gave such a great talk on preventive care. Lily, you must have been so proud watching from home. Lily quickly tried to cover up, saying she visited him in Seattle. I tilted my head and said, really? That's funny, because I remember you posting from that girl's trip to Miami the same weekend with your sorority sisters, unless you figured out teleportation. The room fell silent. Ethan stared at Lily as if he was seeing her for the first time. Lily, you told me you couldn't come to Seattle because of work, he said in a small voice. I interrupted brightly, but that's ancient history. What matters is now. And the baby. Oh, and speaking of surprises, Lily, remember when you asked me to pick up your prescription last month? The pharmacy accidentally gave me both bags. Lily stiffened, and I smiled. Let's just say it didn't quite match up with the story you gave Ethan. Ethan demanded to know what I was talking about, and I said, oh, nothing serious. Just something that raised some questions. But I'm sure everything's fine now. Modern medicine is amazing, isn't it? Lily's face turned green, and she screamed, Charlotte, stop. I calmly replied, I'm just sharing your wonderful news. Oh, and Mom and Dad, did Lily ever tell you about her little online business? My parents, who had always indulged Lily, looked horrified. I pulled out my phone and said, oh, just some adult content under an alias. Very creative branding. She's quite the entrepreneur. Not sure how Ethan feels about it, though. Lily was furious. That's enough. She shouted. I said, you're right. This is a wedding, not a confessional. Although Father Thompson, while you're here, Lily might want to discuss that charity fundraiser from last Christmas. You know, the one that was supposed to benefit the local orphanage but ended up funding a personal shopping spree instead. Father Thompson looked like he wished he could disappear. Ethan turned to Lily, his voice strained. The conference, the online content, the fundraiser. What's going on, Lily? Lily tried to defend herself, saying I was lying out of jealousy. I smiled sweetly and said, oh, no, that was the story you told Mom to get sympathy and some money for treatments that turned out to be plastic surgery. I'm perfectly healthy, thank you. Just waiting until after my wedding, like a grown-up. My mother finally found her voice. Lily Marie Anderson, is this true? Lily didn't answer. She just stared at me with pure hatred. You've been planning this, she hissed. I laughed. Planning? No, Lily. I've been keeping receipts. Every lie, every scam, every time you got away with something while mom and dad looked the other way because you're the baby. I was going to let it go, but then you showed up to my wedding in a white dress and demanded my bouquet. I stepped closer and whispered, just loud enough for everyone to hear, well, congrats. Everyone's looking at you now. The room erupted. Ethan stormed out, my mother started crying, and my father was yelling about the fundraiser money. Guests were whispering, some already pulling out their phones. Through it all, Lily stood frozen, still holding my bouquet. Her white dress now made her look like a rejected bride. My husband, Ryan, stood up and gently pulled me to my feet. I think it's time for our first dance, he said loudly. The band started playing, and as he led me to the dance floor, leaving the chaos behind, he whispered, remind me never to piss you off. I whispered back, finally letting tears fall, I gave her so many chances. I just wanted one day, one single day that was mine. He spun me gently, and I caught sight of my maid of honor, Ava, giving me a standing ovation from our table. For what it's worth, that was legendary, she said. The rest of the reception was surreal. Half the guests left with the drama, while the other half stayed, seemingly energized by the scandal. Lily disappeared at some point along with our parents, but my friends and Ryan's family stayed. The people who actually loved us stayed. As we cut the cake, Ava sidled up to me. So, online fans? Made that up? She asked. I admitted, yes, but she's been paranoid about people finding out about something online, so I took a guess. And the STD? She asked. Real. She used my insurance and forgot they sent explanation of benefits forms, I replied. The charity money? Also real. I have the receipts, I said. Ava shook her head in awe. You're terrifying. I love it. 3 months later, the fallout was still settling. Lily's wedding was called off. It turned out Ethan had been suspicious for a while, and my revelations were the final straw. She was kicked out of my parents' house after they discovered she'd stolen my mother's credit card for a luxury vacation. The church banned her from volunteer work pending an investigation into the missing fundraiser money. She sent me a long email, calling me every name in the book and saying I'd ruined her life out of jealousy. I didn't respond. I was too busy being happily married, enjoying my drama-free life with Ryan and my friends. My mother eventually apologized, sort of. I didn't realize how much we let her get away with, she said over coffee. But did you have to do it at your wedding? I countered, did she have to wear white to my wedding? Did she have to demand I give her my bouquet? She didn't have an answer for that. The funny thing is, I would have kept Lily's secrets forever. I'm not naturally vindictive. All I wanted was one day, my wedding day, to be about Ryan and me. One day where I wasn't the responsible older sister cleaning up Lily's messes or watching her steal the spotlight. But she couldn't even give me that. She showed up in white, announced her pregnancy at my reception, and demanded my bouquet like it was her birthright. So, I gave her what she wanted, everyone's complete and undivided attention. The spotlight she craved so desperately turned up to full beam, illuminating every lie and scheme she hid in the shadows. She wanted to be the main character at my wedding. Fine, I made her the villain instead. The last I heard, she'd moved to Texas, started using her middle name, and was working at a coffee shop. She blocked me on everything, which was honestly a gift. Sometimes the best wedding present is the absence of toxic people in your new life. As for my bouquet, I pressed and framed it. It hangs in our bedroom next to our wedding photo, the one where Ryan and I are laughing on the dance floor while chaos erupts behind us. It's my favorite picture from that whole day because that's the thing about spotlights, they show everything, not just what you want people to see. And when you've built your whole life on lies, maybe it's better to stay in the shadows. They had no idea what I would do next, but now they know, never wear white to my wedding unless you're ready for me to show your true colors.